Welcome in to the GA Scumbags, your crazy uncle's favorite Duke football pod, episode number 12 now. And we've officially made it to the countdown for football season. We are now 5 days out from the Elon opener. Um, on today's episode, we're going to break down Elon, run through our predictions. This will be a shorter episode than normal. But before we get to Elon, Noah, some significant news out of the Duke recruiting world today.
Yes, as everybody knows, I'm sure Bryce Davis, the 3-week Clemson commit, has flipped to the Blue Devils, Duke's highest ranked recruit ever. He's a consensus across all three ESPN, On3, and 247 top 100 recruit in the nation, number 3 in the state of North Carolina. Just a baller, big time player. Really excited to see that Diaz, the boys, and the NIL fund is good enough to get somebody like that. Just super stoked, man. I mean, I don't get how you couldn't be excited for it. Last time we had anything like this was Scott Bracey. We're just gonna pray to God it's not like anything remotely close to the Scott Bracey career, but just super excited. Glad he's a Blue Devil.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I mean, obviously just super stoked. I mean, this is pretty groundbreaking for Duke, like you guys said, like highest rated recruit that we've ever had. Um, Really interesting to me that I mean, obviously it's exciting to have him, but what my question is like, what made him change his mind? Like, was this in the back of his mind all along? Like, did his parents influence his decision? Because we know that his parents were really big on him coming to Duke and staying local and getting a quality education. So my question is, what do you guys think it was that kind of flipped the switch and made him switch up?
It was probably he sat down with Dabo, and Dabo started, bitching about how long the walk was from the visitors to Wallace Wade, and he was like, "I'd just rather take a shorter walk." Um, and I mean, this is back to back years that Clemson's been upset by Duke within the first week of the season, so we got that going for us. Little brother now is what we'll start referring to them as till they can, shut us up again. Um, I mean, really, it's just Noah said this earlier in a group message to all of us that he felt that Davis committed a little earlier than he wanted to just because he felt like he had to commit. Um, because if you remember, like up until the day he announced he was committing, up until like the hour, there were predictions coming in from for Duke like overnight that he was going to like flip then. So I mean, it's not like he was 100% sold on Clemson when he committed
Yeah.
initially. But before I throw that one to Noah, I just want to bring up real quick because this is mind blowing to me. We're moved up to nationally 29th in the recruiting rankings. If that held, that would be the highest we've ever been rated, which just goes to show how bad Ted Roof and Carl Franks were for this
Good
program.
Lord.
That 29th in all of FBS is the highest we would ever be in bringing in players. But yeah, Noah, if you want to, why you think he flipped all of a sudden?
Yeah, so like from what I saw from Van Noy on 247, everything indicated that his strongest relationship, like throughout his high school career with the college coach, has been Harlan Bauer. Harlan Bauer, Manny Diaz stayed on him from the moment he committed to Clemson, and I think just time kind of provided the way it needed to. Like I had said earlier, and you mentioned, I told everybody that he rushed his commitment, and like my opinion, not like I think he didn't rush it in like his date choice, but just towards the end, he had a lot of things coming up that could influence and change his sway. And instead of rescheduling or something, I felt like he probably felt obligated to still do a signing day like that commitment. And but still, it's not over till it's over. But pen to paper, it's a Duke lock. I mean, most of the time you see a guy flip, he's not going to flip back or anything. But I think it was always going to be Duke the whole time. I think that just some things there on the last day swayed him, and then the relationship with Harlan Bauer really just took over and prevailed the way it needed to.
As a wise man once said, it was always the Duke Blue Devils.
Absolutely, never a doubt, never a doubt. Um, so oh, by the way, we should probably address this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can now see Eli's beautiful face, Noah's beautiful mustache, and my ugly ass. If you're listening on Spotify, which we are officially on Spotify for the rest of time, Make sure you watch on YouTube. The YouTube videos will end up being a little bit longer. We'll probably leave some gaps in there because we're known to make a few. But as we dive into Duke, I'm just doing some research real quick. Do you guys know that we've won our last 2 or 3 home openers, and the last season opener we lost was the Charlotte game?
Oh God.
God, that was so embarrassing.
Oh God.
Oh,
Yeah.
The good news is we're on a win streak in opening games. The bad news is that last one was pretty brutal.
That was
Yeah.
that was to Charlotte before Charlotte had like any sort of and they still don't have a decent football program or a decent school. Sorry,
Yeah.
Drew.
That's
Yeah,
actually like a high school stadium right there for
Yeah,
sure. People say
it's actually like a high school too, but no, sorry, Drew Chesh, we love you, but roll Nears forever. Fuck a goddamn 49er.
just going back to I was looking at the schedule. I forgot how bad that 21 season was.
oh
Charlotte beat.
God.
So we started out that year 3-1 after the Charlotte loss. UNC beat us by 31. Virginia beat us by 48.
Was
Wake
there
Forest beat us by 38.
Mhm.
Pitt beat us by 25. Virginia Tech beat us by 31. Louisville beat us by 40, and Miami beat us by 37.
It was such a
Yeah.
cool. Just it felt so Ted Roof, man. It felt so good to
Felt like
be
being a
back.
kid again.
Yeah, I felt young again. I was like, man, just turned the legal drinking age, and I feel like I'm 5 years old, having to hold hands going down the stairs at Wallace Wade.
I think
I
that Charlotte loss was probably the nail in the coffin for Cutcliffe. I think they wanted to get him out, for a little bit, and then that like once they lost with Charlotte, I think that was when they kind of made up their minds like, yeah, this is his last season. Like, we'll let him finish it out, but he's gone after this year.
Dude, you've never seen Duke Facebook groups fall apart harder than after that Charlotte loss.
Dude, we've got to get. Oh, go ahead.
Everybody that was calling for Cutcliffe's head, like and then you had like the other people that were just you don't have no respect, give him a shot. It's like, brother, it's been a few years now. This is
it's
the
over.
trend. We suck.
Yeah.
After the Chase Bryce experiment crashed and burned, because like during the Feimster pod, even Feimster said it, like Roper should have been a special teams coordinator. He was like one of the best in the country at that. After Cut just refused to do that, the Bryce thing crashed and burned. It was already kind of on the wall, and then the Charlotte loss, like you said, was just the dagger that really cemented
that was strike 3.
It was like, oh boys, we might be heading back to like the dark days.
Oh,
Yeah.
we were 100% back.
And we got to there's a friend of ours, Garrett Robertson, who's a big time Duke football fan. He sent us his email that he wrote to the athletic department after they lost to Wake Forest that year, dude. It's like the greatest email ever written. Can I read it to you guys really quick on the pod?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So that year in 2021, when Duke lost to Wake Forest, what was it? 48-0 or something?
It was bad. We got beat like 48-6 or something.
Yeah. Our friend Garrett wrote an email to the athletic director. Was it Nina yet, or was it somebody else?
No, it was oh God, Kevin White, yeah.
Kevin White. He wrote an email to Kevin White. Quote, after seeing yesterday's wonderful performance our football program gave us in Winston-Salem, I figured it was time to voice my concerns. I've been an avid supporter of this team my entire life. That is 19 years of Duke football that I've suffered through. When Coach Cutcliffe came to Durham, I think everyone surrounding the program was extremely excited. Some of the best experiences of my life came in the years where Cutcliffe had this program relevant. I truly do thank him for all that he's done for this program, but clearly the same old thing just isn't cutting it anymore. I think we know that things are getting bad when even the parents that I've spoken to at games are bashing his ability to run this program. He sat in a lot of these kids' living rooms and promised that their kids to their parents would be able to compete at the highest level. They've barely even been competing at this point, as we've seen this season and last. Coach Cut preaches, quote, leave a place better than you found it, but it looks like he may leave this place in exactly the same state that he found it in. This program has come full circle, the laughingstock of the ACC to bowl eligibility every year, and now back to the laughingstock of the ACC. I think that it's extremely clear that it's time for changes to be made. Sincerely, concerned Duke football fan. That's just poetry. That's poetry right there.
Garrett's such a Karen.
Shout out Garrett. We love that.
To Kevin White and signed it off as concerned Duke football fan.
I'm afraid for my children.
I'm not letting my kids pull for Duke football, man. I'm done. I'm breaking the generational curse. I'm gonna be like, here's a Texas shirt, here's a Texas
Yeah,
hat. Enjoy life. Enjoy
their
having fun times.
football game will be like at Texas. Like
No,
they
I'm,
will.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna take them. I won't take them to any Duke sporting event. They will
Life on
not.
easy mode as a Texas fan.
Yep, I'm giving them a cakewalk because I was not given the same liberties.
Well, gents, you want to get into the week 1 predictions?
Yeah, so we'll dive into that. So, Duke, like we said, they're opening this year with Elon. Uh all time, this will be the eighth time they've met. Duke is 7-0-1 against Elon. They've won six straight. Uh God, when we tied the Phoenix some long time ago.
Probably
Uh
2005.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
that long. It's not that long ago.
2020.
it in 2014 was the last time we played Elon, and it was 52-13 drubbing back, the glory days of Coach Code. I'm sure Garrett was happy then. Uh Elon last year was 6-5. Uh, decent. Their head coach Troy Tristiani is in his sixth year, 26-25. Last year, it's about what you would expect from a 6-5 team, which is kind of funny. 25 points per game, 330 yards, 24 points allowed per game, 360 yards. Now you
It's
see
like
all that,
perfect dead center, like
yeah,
right down the middle.
and you look at all that and you're thinking Elon FCS school. All right, probably Duke's gonna win by 50, except for the fact they bring 15 starters back.
Yeah.
7 offensive starters and 8 defensive starters. Now the quarterback's going to be Matthew Downing. He only threw for 1,600 yards last year, but this is wild to me. This is between FBS and FCS. So in all of Division I football, he was ninth in efficiency in the entire country when he threw the football. They've got a wide receiver by the name of Chandler Brayboy. He's a 3-time All-Conference receiver. He's got 1,600 career receiving yards, and this is the kicker. He's got over 1,000 yards returning kicks. Um, so it sounds like Duke special teams. We better be locked in because if not, they've got some potency there.
He's like their
This
Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, exactly, and this must be a nice thing to have. 4 offensive line starters come back. Boy, what a luxury that is. They
About
allow
2 sacks a game too. That's crazy.
and the lone starter that didn't, Caleb Krings, is a Blue Devil now. So they almost had all 5 back. Um,
Oh, so we've got their numbers. What you're saying?
yeah,
We've
yeah,
got a
we
mole.
know it. And they're on it. Probably the best player on the team for him is going to be safety Caleb Curtin. He was an All-American last year at the FCS level. He had 80 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 4 interceptions, 6 passes broken up. He sounds a lot like their Jeremy Cash.
You're
While we're
telling
making
you're telling me we couldn't have threw $100,000 at that dude?
oh,
Like,
it gets better. They've got it opposite of him at safety is Khalil Baker. In 2022, he was an All-American. He missed time injured last year. And you're thinking, okay, well, that's a pretty good defense. Gets better. They've got 2 sophomores starting together at linebacker, Marco Pinero and Brandon Tyson. They were both freshman All-American last year at linebackers. They
bro,
had
you
60, 73 tackles, respectively.
bro, you know Marco Patierno. You just know he's wearing the neck pad, bro. Like
Yeah,
has to be.
like Georgia Tech.
He's some northeastern New England scumbag, bro. That just goes out there and lights motherfuckers up. I love that.
He's got
Probably
like
the
the finger tape and everything too.
Oh,
yep.
dude, his eye black like is like got crosses on it.
He's got like bloody knuckles. He wears like
Yeah.
an American flag headband under his helmet.
Hasn't washed his hair all summer camp.
Um, this is probably the biggest concern that I've got about this team. They're returning 5 defensive tackles who all saw significant playing time last year. 3 of them have played over 1,000 collegiate snaps. Now that's significant because our offensive line, as far as I'm concerned, and until I'm proven otherwise, is going to be just garbage. No disrespect to the players, it's just not good.
Yeah,
Um,
what the hell is depth? What does that mean?
Yeah, there are only 2 question marks on the roster at running back and defensive end. And the running back, really, they brought in a transfer from Bucknell who has over 1,300 career yards and 20 touchdowns. He just hasn't played a deal. So I mean, It's again, this isn't your grandfather's Fighting Phoenix team.
So what I'm hearing is to put money on the Phoenix.
Like,
I'm in at 24.5.
yeah, I mean, look, I'll voice my concerns and I'll let you two go. I've been pretty adamant, online about it. I've talked to myself. I don't think Duke's going to lose. I'm very concerned about Duke in this game. It's the perfect recipe for an upset. Like, I was, before the pod started, I was telling Eli, this is their like Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They're bringing back 15 starters. Their coach is back for a sixth season. They spent all spring, all summer, all fall game planning and preparing to beat us.
Yeah, that sounds familiar,
team,
doesn't it?
yeah, our whole team wasn't on campus till a month ago,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
don't. It's just completely unproven. Do I think Elon's going to beat Duke? No, but it's also worth noting that Elon's played two Power Five teams on the road to open the season the last 2 years. Last year they played Wake to 17 points, and they played Vandy 2 years ago to 11 points. So
Which is crazy. That's an SEC team.
they've got experience playing, albeit lower level, Power Five teams. They've played them on the road, and it's not like playing at Vandy or playing at Wake is any less difficult than playing at Wallace Wade on a Friday night. It's not like Elon's getting ready to walk into Lane Stadium or Texas Stadium. Like, it's as of today, we were like under 50% of our tickets been sold on the ticket map. So I just, the spread's 22.5 before we get into our predictions and stuff like that, just overlooking Elon. I could absolutely see a world where I don't think Duke loses, but I could see a world where it's like going into the fourth quarter, we're all kind of sitting there like, oh shit, like one or two things go wrong here in this fourth quarter and we got a ball game.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like yeah, I'm with you. Like I expect Duke to win, but like I don't, like you said, this isn't your grandfather's Elon Phoenix, like right? Like I'm not like 2 years ago. Yeah, I see Duke beating the brakes off of Elon like 54 to like 7 or 6 or 9 or something like that, right? Like, but this is a Duke team that's very unproven. Like we don't have a lot of returning starters. Like I mean, they have 15 returning starters. Does Duke have 15 returning guys? Like period. Like it's just it's crazy. And like you were saying about like this is a team that's had the Duke game, August 30th, 2024 circled on the calendar for a long time, all through fall camp, all through spring practice. Sounds a lot like, Duke going into Clemson game last year, like that was their game. Like they prepared night and day for that game and they came in for an upset. Difference is, I think, again, I think Duke had a better chance of beating Clemson going into that game than Elon does beating Duke. But I'm not expecting like the same kind of upset that Duke gave the Clemson last year to open the season.
Yeah, you guys have left me to be the optimist in the group. So, I'm gonna let it rip, let everybody know. I did bet on Elon to cover. I'm gonna lose every dollar. Duke will go in at the end of the first half, probably up by we'll go 3 scores, but not 3 touchdowns. I said they got them by it's probably gonna be like 21-6 or something like that. Elon will make 2 field goals in the first half. But, Elon's got talent, but at the end of the day, they just won't be able to keep up with our speed and our size. That is one thing on Elon's roster. I mean, they have FCS weight and FCS size, so that is the one big advantage. And usually, when you've got a team like that, it's kind of like Duke and Florida State in the second half last year. The team with the size and athleticism and the better conditioning. Not saying we're not greatly conditioned, but it pulls away every time. And, that's what will happen in the second half. You'll see that 21-6 grow out to like a 42 to maybe like 14. I don't see Duke hanging 63 or nothing crazy, but you'll see a half 100.
The only other thing that kind of, and I'll say this isn't me thinking Duke's terrible. It's more of me being kind of high on Elon after looking at him. And it's also the fact, if we played Elon 3 weeks from today and I saw what Duke had, I'd be a lot more comfortable in picking Duke to cover by a lot. It's just like I said, you know what you're getting out of Elon. We don't know what we're getting out of Duke. We could get an offense that comes out and they could score 60 points. like if they play like we all think they're capable of when they get into the swing of things, Duke could easily hang 60 on Elon. But there's also a chance, that it's that first game. Everyone's trying to figure out everything. You got 4 offensive linemen that are going to be new to the team, a new quarterback. Eli, only one receiver back from last year that saw significant snaps. So I mean, it could, like you said, if you could get Elon at the first half, I would definitely take that. Elon to cover whatever the first half spread would be.
First half, I think the first half's line at like 16 and a half, 17 points.
Yes, I would definitely probably take that. But enough with them. Kind of getting to what we expect from Duke. I really don't know, because I feel like with the Northwestern game being next week, that's a big game for Duke. Like it's not a stretch to say the Northwestern game could make or break whether or not Duke goes to a bowl game. That game could more or less be like Duke's season. So I don't know how much Manny shows, but at the same time, he's got to run the stuff because he's got to try and break it in. Noah said in the preview episode he thinks we're going to run a lot more than people think, and I agree for this specifically this game. I think Duke is going to try and run as much as possible, just get in and get out with a win, get to Northwestern. I think we've all talked, Brewer in that offense, it's going to be lightning fast. Something that I'm kind of monitoring, and when we get to like our predictions, I'll talk about it a little more. Is I want to see what we do with Malik. Do we just let him showcase the arm and just chuck the ball deep all game, or are they going to try and get Malik comfortable throwing a lot of those shorter routes, kind of the Riley Leonard special, the little 15-yard out route. So I'll be interested to see that. I'll let you guys take over from there on some stuff that you might want to see out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think this first game is going to be used for experimenting almost, maybe. I think they're going to try a few things out that, like, just to see if they can do it, like at least to get some live reps in, whether that's throwing it deep a few times or like working on things that they've been kind of anticipating, like practicing throughout the season and implementing, just using it as almost like a practice run. But like you said, right, Tyler, like we got to be careful, like not to show Northwestern all of our cards. Like we want to beat Elon, obviously, but like don't don't put everything out there if you don't have to. Only do the bare minimum that you have to do to win the game, but don't put everything out there. Like just don't show them everything.
And if we have to put everything out there to beat Elon, we're toast.
Yeah, yeah.
If we've got to like empty the deck against Elon, yeah, it's gonna be a long year.
Yeah, like the last thing I want is like we kind of talked about like last 2 minutes of the game, and like they're still sending Murphy out there to like try to get a game-winning drive just to get into field goal range. That's like nightmare situation right there. So I don't think it'll come to that, but that's definitely like something that's like nightmare fuel right there.
Yeah, so personally for me, like one thing I've always like really been like harping on, especially with the a lot of people in the GC as well saying they don't think we need to show our cards and stuff, which I kind of agree to an extent. But every week in practice you run new install, and install each week is just completely different depending on your opponent. Your playbook might be the same, but the schemes, the formations, and all that, and how you run out of it, motions, things like that. They change that and install every single week. Really keeps things mixed up and flows well. I think you're just going to see Duke call a normal game. I think that's what they need to call, regardless if they're up by 40 or if it's a tie ball game. And let install and let the coaches do what the coaches do week in, week out. Change formations, change motions, keep the looks fresh, and just install that throughout the week. I don't see us doing any sort of like limited playbook or anything. We'll hide our cards back after we win the hand. But one thing Tyler mentioned, I did say running the ball is going to be at the forefront of this offense for probably the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. It's going to be a thing that like a lot of people are expected to be only pass because that's how Brewer was at SMU. That doesn't work for Duke. We don't have that kind of personnel to do that. You know, we're really skilled at receiver and quarterback, but it's not the kind of separation and like playmaking downfield abilities that they need to run that constantly. We're going to be a better run team than a pass team, but that's just because of how good Jacquez Moore is. And
You all,
until somebody stops it, like I mean, Duke's going to run 60% of the time.
Especially with
you
the
also
depth that we
have,
have at running back too.
yeah, the running back room's deep for sure. Like Starr, Quez, my guy Peyton Jones. The other issue with throwing it a lot is it's like I told, you got to have time to throw it, and I don't think we will because of the offensive line. And I'm curious. I don't know what you guys think about this. I want to see like how much we rotate offensive line in and out versus like, are we just going to have a set in stone five guys and we're just going to let those five go? Or are we going to like try and just throw bodies in all game to see who sticks and like who can do what?
Yeah.
Intrigued by watching that.
Another thing, Tyler, I was just thinking about was like, and like when Noah was talking, something I thought about was like just trying to pound the pavement the first 5 weeks. Also, like they're gonna want to eliminate as much risk as possible of Malik taking hits. They basically like they're probably gonna want to avoid any possible liability if unless they don't have any other choice, right? Like they're just gonna just run it as much as they can. Obviously, they're going to pass it some, but like they're going to want to, especially with this like offensive line, that's a huge question mark. They're going to want to just avoid any possibilities of Malik taking too many hits and then like going down week 2, week 3, and then we lose him for the season possibly. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the
Yeah,
crazy part about our offensive line is like how drastically different their skill is. Like in run blocking, we're a top 8 offensive line in the ACC. We're in the top half of the ACC when it comes to a run blocking offensive line. But pass blocking, man, it's not what they're gonna thrive at. And you know, it's not a knock to any of those guys. I think they'll get better throughout the year. They're gonna have to. If they don't, we're in for a long fucking ride. But like if we were just and like you got to play to your strength, man. Like Brewer was playing to his strength, passing the ball out at SMU because that's what they had with Tanner Mordecai. That's what they had with Stone last year. Like, I mean, it's we have that at Duke, but you got to have the full scheme to do it. And we have the full scheme to run the ball and do RPOs and do quick passes, and we can win games doing that.
I think we're going to look a lot offensively like Georgia Tech looked against Florida State. Speaking of, real quick, before we get like both predictions for the game, fuck the Seminoles. The Georgia Tech handed their ass on a platter. Now I'm even more scared about going to play Georgia Tech in Atlanta because they absolutely manhandled Florida State, running the ball whenever they wanted to, and kind of handled Florida State's offensive line pretty good. Um, so now we're gonna like each give a bold prediction for the game before we give like our final score predictions. And again, I've already kind of hinted at it a little bit. My biggest one is going to be originally I had 230 yards. Malik's going to pass for under 200 yards and one touchdown. I think because I have to run the ball. I'm going to put Malik at under 200 yards passing total with one touchdown.
It's got
Because I
that
think we're
classic Riley Leonard
much.
stat line.
Yeah. Yeah. Like 13 for 19, 175 yards and a touchdown.
No, I'll let you go next.
Oh Lord. Well, I'm gonna give one for I got two. I think that our defense gets more fumble recoveries than interceptions in the game. I think we get 2 fumbles and 1 pick. Offensively, I think Jacquez Moore gets 3 touchdowns on the ground.
I could see that. Mine is less of a stat prediction. Mine is just more of like a situational thing. I think that obviously I think we are going to see Grayson get some playing time, but it's not going to be as early or as we would like or hope. You know what I'm saying? Like ideal scenario, like we're up 45 points going into the like halfway through the third quarter and the backup comes in. I think that he might come in a a little bit later than we'd be expecting or like to. Like, think of like last year versus UConn. Remember watching that game, and I remember watching that and being like, "Why the hell is Riley Leonard still in there, dude? We're up like 30 points. What is going on?"
That was the worst, like one of the worst Riley Leonard games ever, too.
Yeah, that's when
Yeah.
I kind of realized, wait, are we low key frauds? I was like, what are we doing?
Bryce Davis's mom just followed Krim on Twitter.
Oh, that's what's up.
That's so awesome. That whole family probably has talked about Krim at the dinner table at
Yeah, for
least 50
weeks.
times, dude.
Uh,
She's probably,
shout,
Bryce, did you see what that Krim guy posted?
shout out our social media guy, Krim. This has been the happiest day. For those of you that don't know, he is like he was the biggest Bryce Davis guy. Like when it was 50-50, he was all over Bryce Davis. Like this is the
This,
equivalent of Duke winning a national championship for him.
I mean, this is kind of the biggest thing to ever happen to Duke football that's like close to a national championship.
Like he has had a field day with this. Now the real question is, Eli, is Loftus coming in because we're up a lot, or because our offensive line is that bad and the league's already dead? Because it could be very well be the second one there.
It could be either one. God.
Like you know,
I
we
think
we
our
we've
O
all
line will
know
go ahead.
that Malik's not going to make it to the third week. Like
I think our O line is going to hold up okay against Elon. I think he's going to come in because we're winning by a lot. But then I think the next time we see Grayson is when Malik goes down in some fluke ass incident against like UConn or someone stupid like week 3 or 4.
God damn it.
all, all I'm saying
It's
is,
written in the stars, dude.
if it goes into the fourth quarter and Malik is still on the field because he has to be because it's like a 10-point game, I will be using my Devil's Deck ticket to go up to the deck, and
And jump off.
I'm taking a flying leap because the year's just cooked.
And then the
Um,
boomers in the Facebook group are going to use that. You see, that's why you don't build these darn decks.
Them damn drunk young boys and them drunk seltzer drinking liberal sissies over there
Yeah. Yeah.
don't
Show
know
me
how to
one successful program that's done this.
don't know
they're
how to handle no whiskey.
they're just mad because they didn't have a way out when the Ted Roof and Frank days were around. We have a
Yeah,
way out,
exactly.
I wonder what the
except
male suicide rate is for Duke male football fans that were
Yeah.
like in their mid to late
through the roof.
30s and 40s during those years. It had to
That's
at
the
least be
reason.
3 out of 4.
Well, that's the reason we don't have as many Duke fans as we would like. It's
They,
because they all died
They're all
15
dead.
years ago.
they all kicked the chair out from underneath them.
That Richmond game did a number on the Duke like population for fans. All right, so we're gonna end this coming up now with predictions. We're just gonna give our scores and whether or not Elon covers. The line's 22.5. Um, from where there are games on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week, and well, technically Sunday with the one off on USC LSU. We're gonna tweet out best bets every day instead of doing like one big segment here. It's worth noting as well that we went 2-1 in our best bets last week. Georgia Tech covered, SMU covered, Hawaii over did not hit. Ignore the parlay that we made. That was a disaster. I'll take blame for that one.
Yeah, that's literally all your fault.
Me and Noah were about as cold as we could get when we decided to do that. But I'll kick it off here. I've got Duke winning. Again, I'm not sold on Duke. I think Elon's going to be a little bit better than we expect. I'm going to take Duke 34-17 against Elon. Elon's going to cover the 22.5, and I will be on suicide watch when the fourth quarter arrives. Someone's going to need to, like, Jared's going to have to keep check on me in section 17 Friday night. We'll go Eli. What's your score?
Give me 24-10 Elon. I'm just kidding. No.
I would go lay in the middle of I-40.
Yeah, dude, I'm jumping off Blue Devil Tower. I'm bungee jumping with no cord. Let's see. Give me 45-20 Duke.
45 Duke. So you've got Duke covering the 22. All right, Mr. Optimist of the group, Noah.
Give me Duke 54. Give me Elon 19.
54-19.
A lot of field goals and touchdowns sprinkled in there.
So you've got 45-20 Eli, 54-19 Noah, and then I've got 34-17 because I love torturing myself, and I think Duke loves it even more.
Because Tyler is the pessimist Duke football fan.
I look. Why should I not be like? What reason do I have to believe?
I mean, yeah, you're just slightly less delusional than the rest of us. You're delusional enough to still be a fan, but you're you're just not delusional enough to believe every year, which is understandable.
Which arguably would make it worse because at least you guys have some optimism. I keep trotting out every year like this is our year, and I don't shout to say I'm a Cowboys fan. That's what I imagine that feels like when he hears this.
Yeah, this is our year, bro. Trust.
Yeah, we're the Dallas Cowboys of the ACC, except we're never good.
Big trust.
At least they get to 500 every year.
Ouch. Ouch. It's crazy to think about. I was thinking about this the other day. Since the year I was born in 2000, I've seen Duke go lower than 500 more times than I've seen them go above 500. And it's by like a 6-year spread, too.
Yeah, it's not
like,
that close.
Fuck, bro. Like, fuck.
You've
dude.
also seen like more winless seasons than 10-win seasons.
Oh, I mean, yeah, by 4. I've seen, well, no, 3 all back to back to back. But yeah.
4 is incoming this year.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. Let's stop this talk.
4 is incoming this year. It's also worth noting again, like, if you guys are listening, now that football season's kind of getting fully in swing, make sure you're a part of the DDC.
Yes.
Help NIL fun out. Make sure you're taking a part in and following Phil the Wade on Twitter.
Education's the price to pay, son.
Right.
NIL, we're going to give you a diploma.
Them boys don't need no money. They go get a job.
Our players should be focused on being built in God's NIL.
Yeah.
His name, image, and likeness.
Only Jesus can save this program.
Yeah, NIL. All I know is NIV, son.
But yeah, make sure you're. This didn't take long to go off the rails. Make sure you're following Phil the Wade. Make sure you're a part of the DDC. They give out all kinds of cool things. And if you're not, please come out to the game on Friday.
Yes.
It is absurd that as of right now, less than half the tickets have been sold for the game. I get it.
Brother, it's more than a concern.
I get it's Friday night. I get the weather's not going to be the best. I get it's Elon. If we want Malik Murphy to stick around longer than 2 games, we might want to show up and give him a little bit of support.
Yeah.
Imagine the culture shock for his first game where he walked out into Texas and they're playing, the University of Blind and Deaf for their week 1 opener, and the stadium's packed out like they're playing a national championship game, and he walks into for the home opener and there's like 7 people in the stands.
DKR put 88,000 people in that stadium at 11 a.m. Central Time for a Rice game.
Yeah,
it was over 100 and something degrees, bro. Wait, it's not even just fucking comparable.
Imagine the shock when you run out of the tunnel at Wallace Wade and you look and all you see is empty chair back seats.
You literally see
keep it dark.
You literally see these 4 dudes sitting in this podcast. I mean, the 3 dudes sitting in this podcast and Krim up in the tower.
And Ronnie Hornaday.
and Cowboy Ron.
Well, Barry's fat ass will be there somewhere, I'm sure.
Barry Bumgarner can't outliver much me. I can tell you that much. Somebody go comment on his Facebook and just call it Podunk Rufferden.
Oh, I would, but I'm blocked.
No way, you got blocked too?
Yeah, I've been blocked.
All 3 of us blocked by Barry. So someone that did this and has Barry on Facebook, do us a huge favor. And just screen record the last 5 seconds of this and just tell him he's a fat piece of shit.
Tell him to go fuck himself. Goddamn loser. Come fucking find me, Barry. You don't know liver mush like I know liver mush. I grew up on the farm, son. You want to call my town? You want to call my town Podunk, son? You're from fucking Rufferden. Fuck you, Barry.
This pod is just.
What was it he called you that one time? He called you like kid. He was like,
yeah.
Did you look up how old you were or something?
Yeah, it was like you podunk teenager from Marion. I was like, dude, I'm fucking graduated like college. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, brother, yeah. I was like, but you got me. That's definitely where I went to high school. He was like, that's a shitty town. Like, bro, you
See,
don't
this,
know.
this
You
is
don't
why
know.
we're Spotify and YouTube version. This is all going to go on the YouTube part. We got to incentivize people to like get on both.
Paywall.
The last
Paywall.
minute and a half of ranting about berries definitely gonna. Are there
Make
any other fans you
get
hate on
Crim.
besides Janet's old ass?
Dude, I
Know the
don't. What
She
the
doesn't know
fuck
what a
is
podcast is. We're fine.
what has Janet done to you?
She doesn't know what a podcast is. We're fine.
Oh my God.
She's one of the ones that commented under that Riley Leonard post I made and was like, "Thanks for clarifying that this is sarcasm."
Dude, she could buy all three of us, son. Watch your tone. Her
She
father
need,
built Wallace Wade after all.
yeah, because she took Wallace Wade to fucking prom.
All right. Let's cut the pod. Cut the pod.
Yeah, that'll be it.
That'll fell
We'll
off the
be,
rails.
yeah, we'll be out with an Elon reaction after we lose to the Phoenix one day next week. If we're not all dead by then. Till then, DDMF.